emerge naturally when your character is rooted in and formed by positive principles. Forcing yourself to display a personality that is inconsistent with your character is like wearing a mask. It is deceptive, manipulative, and ultimately destructive. To develop a sound character, you need a sound paradigm, a solid new way of seeing things. Before the theory of gems established a new paradigm, for example, surgeons didn't wash their hands. When patients died of infections, no one understood why. Sterile operating rooms came about as a result of a new paradigm, a new way of seeing how disease works. Today, many people have a deterministic paradigm. They believe that their genetic makeup determines how they will act, or that their parents' failure permanently weakened their own chances and formed them irremediably, or that the environment or experience have curtailed their freedom to change. In fact, determinism is a paradigm. To forge a strong character, abandon determinism and accept a paradigm of freedom. This new paradigm allows you to see that you can change, that character is a habit, and that a habit is what you do consistently. Act consistently in a new way, and you will form and become a new improved character. Certain basic principles and values make people more effective. They are fairness, equity, integrity, honesty, human dignity and worth, excellence, a spirit of service, patience, perseverance, nurturance, caring, courage, and encouragement, and the can-do attitude that recognizes boundless potential. The person whose character grows from these classic principles is a leader who have mastered him or herself, can inspire and help others. Character is a habit. As Aristotle said, we are what we habitually do. To develop the habit of acting on these principles, you must know, understand what you want to do and why you want to do. Develop skills, become able to do it. Desire, you must want and will yourself to do it. The most important work is the inner work. When you master your interior self, you will master what is outside of you. Many people mistakenly concentrate on production, on making a measurable, visible difference in the world outside. They neglect production capability, the source of power that makes production possible. Habit 1. Be proactive. Highly effective people take the initiative. They are proactive. They do not impose limits on themselves that prevent them from acting. They recognize that they have the freedom to determine the kind of character they will have because they can decide how they will act. They may not be able to control their circumstances, but they can decide whether to use their circumstances or be abused by them. They live by the principle of personal vision. Viktor Frankl was a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp. His entire family except for one sister was murdered in the camps. As horrific as his circumstances were, Frankl recognized that he was free because he could decide how he would think, act in the midst of the horror. Even when he was starving prisoner, he visualized himself lecturing in a classroom, telling students about the horror and what he learned from it. His mental discipline made him stronger than the camp guards. He inspired fellow prisoners and even some of the guards themselves. Frankl was proactive. He took the initiative and accepted responsibility for his fate. He recognized that fate was his to decide. He did not have the power to walk away from the camp, but he had the power to master it. Begin with the end in mind. Think carefully about your goals. Many people spend a lifetime pursuing goals that proves meaningless, unsatisfying, or destructive. You see them on the covers of tabloid magazines, rich, famous, busted for drugs, or watching their marriages fall apart. Power, money, and fame were the goals that they wanted and achieved, but at what price? Effectiveness is not just a matter of reaching a goal, but rather of achieving the right goal. Imagine yourself sitting in the back of the room at your funeral. Imagine what people could honestly say about you based on the way you are now. Do you like what you hear? Is that how you want to be remembered? If not, change it. Take hold of your life. Implement personal leadership. Begin by drafting a personal mission statement that outlines your goals and describes the kind of person you want to be. Think carefully about this mission statement. Examine yourself. See yourself as you really are. Are you self-centered, a workaholic, money-grubbing? Decide what you need to change and what you want to become. Write the statement. Make a commitment to yourself. Keep that commitment. Put first thing first. You have the power to change who you are, but that means changing how you act. Never let your most important priorities fall victim to the least important. Many people spend their time reacting to urgent circumstances and emergencies and never invest the necessary effort to develop the ability to prevent emergencies, to exercise personal management. They confuse the important with the urgent. The urgent is easy to see, the important is harder to discern. Emphasize planning, avoiding pitfalls, developing relationships, cultivating opportunities, and getting adequate recreation. Don't think about cramming a lot of business into your schedule, but rather about making sure that you spend the necessary time on important things. Think of your various roles as a spouse, a parent, a manager, a community volunteer. Give each role an important allotment of time on your schedule. Do not rob Peter to pay Paul. Make sure each role gets its due. Think win-win. In marriage, business, or other relationships, exercise interpersonal leadership to make both parties winners. 2 wins makes everyone better off. 2 loses places everyone in a worse situation. A win-lose relationship creates a victor and leaves someone injured. Highly effective people strive for win-win transactions which make it profitable for everyone to cooperate because all the parties are better off in the end. Any other kind of transaction is destructive because it produces losers and therefore enemies and bad feeling, such as animosity, defeat, and hostility. Highly effective people become highly effective by multiplying their allies, not their enemies. A good alliance is win-win. Communication is a two-way street. To develop win-win relationship, find out what the other parties want. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Communication is a two-way street. To develop win-win relationships, find out what the other parties want and what winning means to them. Don't assume you know. Listen. Always try to understand what the other people want and need before you begin to outline your own objectives. Do not object, argue, or oppose what you hear. Listen carefully and think about it. Try to put yourself in the other party's shoes. Good lawyers make it a practice to write the strongest possible case they can from their opponent's point of view. Only when they understand the best possible arguments for the opposition do they begin to draft the case from their client's point of view. This tactic is equally valuable in personal relationships or business arrangements. Always understand what the other party needs and wants and why. Then, when you outline your own objectives, put them in terms that respond directly to the other party's goal. That is acting upon the principles of empathetic communication. Synergize. Cooperation multiplies the power of one. In fact, creative cooperation may yield a force greater than the sum of the parts, just as an arc can support a greater weight than 2 pillars can hold. The arc multiplies the power of both pillars. The buzzword to describe this kind of relationship is synergy, which means bringing together a whole that is greater than the sum of the parts. Effective synergy depends on communication. Many people make synergy impossible by reacting from scripts. They don't listen, reflect, and respond, but instead they hear and react reflexively. Their reactions may be defensive, authoritarian, or passive. They may oppose or they may go along, but they do not actively cooperate. Cooperation and communication are the 2 legs of a synergistic relationship. Listen, reflect, respond, and actively cooperate. Sharpen the saw. In an old yarn, a man is sawing a log. The work is going slowly and the man is exhausted. The more he saws, the less he cuts. A passerby watches for a while and suggested that the man should take a break to sharpen the saw. But the man says he can't stop to sharpen the saw because he is too busy sawing. A dull saw makes the work tiresome, tedious, and unproductive. Highly effective people take the time they need to sharpen their tools, which are in fact their bodies, souls, mind, and hearts. It's time for self-renewal. Effective people take care of their bodies with a program of exercise that combines endurance, flexibility, and strength. It's time to plan such a program, and you don't have to join a gym to implement it. Effective people care for their souls with prayer and meditation. If they are inclined to religiously grounded spirituality, or perhaps by reading a great literature or listening to great music, never neglect the spiritual dimension. It provides the energy for the rest of your life. Mental repair may mean changing your habits, such as the habit of using social media. Using social media encourages passive absorption of values, attitudes, and dispositions that dull the mind. Read, work, puzzles, do math, or engage in some challenging activity to keep your mind alert, active, and engaged. The heart refers to emotions, which depend greatly on others. Work to develop your heart, your emotional connections, and your engagement with other people. Communicate, listen, and be undemanding. In everything you do, try to make others better off and put them first. By doing so, you will transform yourself into a highly effective person. If you like this video, please give thumbs up down below, and if you wanna see more of my content, then consider subscribing my channel, because that will surely motivate me to create more videos for you. It will help you to improve your character and thinking. Peace.